Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to draw our duck here. So you see I already have the references. So you see the duck over here. I already have the sketch. So now grab your pen and let's start our drawing here. So let's see. Here I already given you all the layers here, from body to the bow to the sketch. Can you see it? Alright, so now if you see my screen here, if you see it, we have body, we have beak, glasses, and eyes, and then lastly we have the bow. So here is all the layers inside our files here, the ducky. So here, what first thing we do is we're going to add a layer and clip it. So how do we going to shade this? Well, it's easy. You pick out the color here. I already given the color, you see. It's B0542F. So that's the code. So what am I going to do now? So I'm going to use airbrush, trapezoid 20% by the way. Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust my airbrush here. You see, can you make the opacity the same, 17%, and then the size, make sure it's big. So we're just going to shade it, like soft shading it using the airbrush. You see here, I'm going to do the wings, and then I'm going to do below the head. Okay, this is just for the soft shadow over here. Alright, so we can shade it here and here. So I turn on my sketch because I want to see the overall of everything. And to make it 3D, I add more shadow to the eyes. And then I turn on back my sketch. Why? Why? Because I want a guideline for this part. So this one is a hard shadow. So I'm going to do a hard shadow here, like a little bit harsh. Yes, you see? You done with the harsh shadow. So what you're going to do is you're going to use airbrush to soften. You see, you're going to soften our drawing here, and then make sure the shadow is not too contrast with our base. Alright, so I'm going to make a montage. Click. Alright, so this part here, I'm just going to clean them up a bit to make it more neat, and then add like adjusting the shadow using the eyedropper just to pick out the color in the middle, and you know, just a little bit of clean up to make it look softer, rounder, more 3D. Okay, so for this part, we're going to do a reflecting light. So I pick the color here. Okay, choose the one that closest to you, the closest to my color here. So just do the reflecting color, which is the light, the ashy light pink, and then you just blur it using the blur tools. Okay, just repeat this process all over again. Just repeat and repeat and repeat. Okay, good job everyone. So now we're going to do the highlight. So this is the color we're going to use. Use pen fade to make the highlight here. Okay, first we're going to start with the wings. Whoop. And then we're gonna make it the cheeks, and then we do it on the face. Like we're gonna contour. We're going to contour his face. And then the same thing as we did for the reflecting light, we're just going to blur some part. Like there are some part that is blur and not blur. The one that blur is the one that is blending in with the drawing, and the one is not blur is the one that we want to do a contrast. Okay, here, so I'm going to use airbrush just to soften up the 3D shape. Okay, here just to make it more 3D and soft, and then going to the belly because this is chubby. He's a chubby boy. And then I'm going to make another contrast here with the darker shade of shadow, and then just blur it. Alright, we're done. So pause here. So we're going to do the beak. So the step is the same. We're just going to use a shadow using a pen fade, and then we're going to shade the below the beak and make the overall shape first, right? Just like a messy one. And then use the darker shade of orange to make the darker shadow to make the overall shape like the dark silhouette, you know. And then we just blur it just like we did for the duck body. So here you just have to clean up, like add more shadow, add more lights, and then use the base to clean them up, and then add highlights. Okay, so now we're done. We're done with the beak. So what's next? What do you think is next? We're going to fix the glasses. You see, we're gonna fix these glasses. You see, it's kind of wonky, right? It's kind of wonky. It's not looking very nice. So don't worry about that. We're just going to shade first, like to see the overall shading, like where's the shadows going to be, and then just blur it a bit using the pen fade and airbrush, just to make the line and where the shadow and the lights going on. Alright, see, so we're done with the glasses here. It's kind of quick, right? So for the eyes, it's a bit different. So we're going to use magic pen, and then when you magic wand, and then when you do the magic wand, just click on the white color and then use airbrush to do the shading. Same goes to the inside of the pupil. See? Okay, done. So now just add highlights, and then you're done with the eyes. So last part, we're just going to do the bow here. So the same thing, just do like a basic shadow first, like to make the overall shapes, and then you just blur it using airbrush and blur tools like this, and then use the darker color to make the darker shadow using the airbrush. See, now it's more 3D. Okay, and then we're just going to add a highlight. Why am I using peach? Well, it's easy because the color combination in between them. So now we're going to add another layer and name it as render. Why we're going to do render? Because we want to clean up. We want to clean up because the drawing, they look kind of wonky, right? The line is not right. So here is the rendering. So basically you just paint over a bit to make the drawing look smoother, and then you just blur it using the blur tools. So you pick the color using the eyedropper, okay? Using the eyedropper, you just do the coloring, and then here we're going to, like I said before, we're going to do the glasses here. So use the oval ruler, and then you're just going to make the shape more cleaner now. Oh, look, see, my glasses is thicker. I'm just going to fill in the base color again. Let's try to redo the glasses. So I'm going to pick out the color here, the shadow color, and to do the shadow right now using the elliptical ruler as the guide. Okay, here I'm going to do it again. Okay, and then I'm going to do a shadow over here. Everything here is using the pen fade, by the way. Okay, and then here and here and there. Okay, this hue here. And then we're almost done with the shadow. So here I'm going to blend in using the color in the middle just to make a little bit of texture. I was planning to do like a wooden texture for the glasses, and then I'm going to use a lighter shade of teal just to do the highlight using the airbrush. Okay, using the airbrush. And then when you're done with the frame, right, the frame of the glasses, we're going to do the glass. So it's easy. Just use airbrush to shade the color in the circular motion. So we have the glass here. So now we're almost done. So for the last part, we're just going to do a background. Just use your shape tool and make sure it's put to fill, and then done.